Ladies and gentlemen, this is All Things Pro Wrestling with your host, Danny Harrow.
And Mike Larkin, host of On the Mic with Mike and host of CCW's Progression and Succession and Recap Shows.
Today, Michael, do you want to let the people know who we're with?
Oh my goodness. Today we are here with that green-haired dynamo, your hero, if you will, our heroes, the hero to us all. Only a hero can save us. We're not going to stand here and wait. We have the one and only Airica Demia on the show. How are you, Airica?
Hi, I'm good. How about you guys?
Good. Excited to be talking with you. You've been doing a lot of stuff on the professional wrestling scene, a lot of great matches out there, especially coming off of Capital Championship Wrestling, doing your thing of Blood in the Sand, doing everything with Venom Championship Wrestling, Paris Van Dale, who's got a lot of stuff going on with Kaya McKenna. But you right there in the mix, first and foremost, great matchup and great debut.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You were very welcome. We'll start it off there because Paris Van Dale is another one who we've seen on AEW television who has really been out there on the Northeast side of things and just really showcasing her talents in the independent wrestling circuit. Mm-hmm. Let's start by talking about that match because first and foremost, you came out the gate with the Superman punch. She got you with the raindrop, the voodoo drop. Everything really went to fruition. It was crisp. It was fluid. Talk about the chemistry and talk about working with Paris Van Dale and especially Venom Championship Wrestling, Capital Championship Wrestling at the Monster Factory, which has given us the likes of Bam Bam Bigelow and so many amazing stars. Talk about that experience for us.
Well, at first I was pretty nervous because I'm always nervous at every debut I'm at because I have really bad social anxiety. And I was like, when I went to talk to her, I had to I was apologizing constantly because I would stumble over my words, kind of like I'm doing now, but like worse, if that's possible. Anyways, she was very patient with me, thankfully. Yeah, the outcome was mildly disappointing. Also, that finish was terrifying. I thought my hips were gonna break. I'm terrible at talking about stuff like this. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
You're good.
Real quick, now the Superman punch. For you, it's not called the Superman punch, correct?
Correct.
What is it called?
I call it One for Your Face, which is kind of like a spin on the superpower that the main character of the anime that my gimmick is based off of. Like, that's his superpower's name is One for All. So I was like, One for Your Face. Also, a friend of mine came up with it because I posted on Facebook a while ago that I was like, I need a name for my finish. And a friend of mine commented that. I was like, that is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue and it makes sense. Now, like Michael said, you have had good matches on the indie scene so far. But before we dive a little bit deeper into that, let's kind of go back to the very beginning. Did you grow up a wrestling fan?
Pretty much, yeah. So when I was younger, I would watch my dad wrestle, actually. He wrestled at this small little local indie federation in Lincolnton, North Carolina, which is where I live. Maybe I shouldn't say that a lot. It's fine. But he wrestled there for like 20 years off and on, and I had been watching it since like my mom was going to those shows when she was pregnant with me. So technically I had been going since before I was born. That was when I was younger, that was the only kind of wrestling I knew. I didn't know like what WWE was or NXT or anything like that until sorry, my cat's yelling at me. I didn't know I didn't know what like WWE was until I was like maybe 7. So
okay. So then you do know what WWE is. Who do you kind of look at that point? Like you're 7 years old, like you're getting into WWE. Like, are you looking at anyone specifically?
So I had 2 wrestlers that I really liked when I was younger, and that was Bailey and Johnny Gargano. I had a massive crush on Johnny Gargano. It's not even funny. My dad picked on me about it every single time we would watch NXT. It was hilarious. But yeah, they were my 2 favorites.
Okay. When did you, with your dad being really on the wrestling scene, did you always know like I'm gonna wrestle eventually, or did you like have other options? Like, did you explore other things before you're like, I'm gonna do this for sure?
So when I was younger, I kind of didn't really have interest in becoming a wrestler until I turned until around 7 years old. Around the time I actually I knew it was on TV. My cat is being a nuisance. Buddy, can you not? Come here. Hold up. Come back.
I would just like to say, as a fellow cat handler myself, I agree with that. Oh, there it is. I love that.
His name is Coheed.
Yeah, I love it.
He's very talkative. Okay, you can go now. Jesus. Okay, where was I? I'm so sorry.
No, you were fine.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, when did you really know you were gonna become a wrestler?
So I did ask my dad around 7 years old. I was like, hey, can I try to be a wrestler too? He was like, huh, no. Because for one, I was 7 years old. And for two, I am a super clumsy human being. I'm better than I used to be. But if you're around me for 10 minutes, I will fall at least or trip at least 3 times in just 10 minutes. Yesterday, I went to walk, I was at my academy and I went to walk past a couple of chairs and I tripped on every single chair that was there. And somebody looked at me and was like, are you okay? Do you have a concussion? What's happening right now? I was like, no, I'm just clumsy. Every single chair.
So what really convinced him?
So when I turned 14, I kind of at that point I had been pestering him about it for a while, and he was like, you know what? Fine, I'll let you try it. Also, I was going through kind of a hard time when I was in 8th grade. I got bullied a lot, and I had a huge really crappy situation happen to me. I don't want to talk about that. That's not important. We're not here to talk about the negatives. But he was like, you know what? You need an escape. We'll try this. Well, this will keep you out of trouble. So I got in the ring. I took my first bump and he was like, so do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I do. First bump and you're hooked. And if you're not hooked, then you're not going to make it after the first bump. Because I've seen people who they take the first bump and they're like, you want to keep going? And they're like, this sucks. No, I'm done. But me, I was like, no, I want to do more because wrestlers are crazy. Some of us.
That I can actually agree with that. Just for with me when I took my first bump, literally I took my first bump, got up, and my coach was like, so the door's right there? And I was like, yeah, it's there, but I'll go there after training. I want to keep doing this. So I guess that makes sense. I agree with that.
Yeah, you have to have a certain mentality to be able to be a wrestler because
it's not easy.
No, the pain, it never stops. It never stops hurting. You get a little more used to it, but it doesn't stop.
Yeah, I think I'm just at that stage right now where I'm just getting used to it. Before it was kind of just always nagging and complaining about it. Now it's more it's part of life at this point. I just wake up every day in pain, but it's for something I love. So, so then you start training. When did you start? You're fresh off into the indie scenes, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
How has it been so far?
The indie scenes or just wrestling in general?
Well, both, but also have you traveled far?
So I live in North Carolina. So the furthest I've traveled is New Jersey, for CCW. And then the next day I had a show in Maryland, which was also really cool. I happened to show up and they needed a girl and they were like, hey, do you have your gear with you? I was like, yeah, I do actually. Rule number 1 of indie wrestling, always bring your gear everywhere you go.
So yeah, actually, so the next day you're on CZW, which is how is were you going there just to go there, or did you know they might need somebody? Were you going there for the show and then they just needed you, or how did that come about?
So Kid Bandit actually invited me and my dad. She sent a message to my dad and was like, hey, I'm in Maryland for this show and I see that y'all are pretty close and like, is this on your drive home? Because if so, you should stop by. So we were like, okay, we'll stop by, we'll watch the show. I decided to help set up the ring because we got there super early because it wasn't that long of a drive. And as I was setting up, they were like, hey, we need another girl. Do you have your gear with you? I was like, yeah, I do. I was not ready for this. But it was really cool. Like, the atmosphere there is really fun. Like, I'm looking like I'm sorry, I stutter a lot because
Me too.
my brain moves way faster than my mouth does. But what was I trying to say? I'm sorry.
No, you were just saying pretty much it's just the fact that, you know, you're traveling and Kid Bandit got you on the show and just you took it from there. Yeah.
Yeah, so they already asked me to come back for the next show, and I was like, oh, that's dope. Okay. So I definitely look forward to going back.
How is that feeling? Like when they ask you to come, because that has to give you a sense of like, I must have really impressed them in the ring for them to already ask you to come back to the next show. So how does that make you feel? Because I can just imagine, like, if they're asking you to come back to the next show already off like one match, like you had to have impressed them, because they're not just gonna ask you to come back for no reason.
Yeah, actually, baby, like sometimes I really doubt myself. I'm like, I feel like I suck, but then I have moments like that where they're like, they asked the crowd after the show, it's like, do you want her back? And there's like a big cheer, and I was like, oh my god, I don't suck. That's a wonderful feeling, especially when the crowd's like, hey, we want you back.
Yeah, the crowd has a big part in the wrestling community, so for them to have cheered you on like that, you're definitely doing something right. See, I say too all the time.
Well, I got to add on to that first and foremost, because what she said is actually perfect. Like when you talk about the crowd and just the crowd chanting for you to bring this girl back, I also kind of equated to like when you would see like guys and gals, and we'll talk about the gals here, like in the Mae Young Classic, when you see like Cedric for the Cruiserweight Classic and all these women like Mia Yim at the Mae Young Classic, just like to sign her. That's got to be probably one of the most rewarding feeling, because not just the fact like you talk about, you know, I think everybody has those jitters and everybody's like, you know, very critical of their matches. We are and what we do and everything that in life, basically. But I think that's got to be most rewarding just for the fact that at such a young age and such tenured, really getting into that. I think it's all about making a first impression. I mean, you showcase that at CCW and CCW. But for you, I got to touch upon this because first and foremost, Palmetto Championship Wrestling, it's the Academy. I'm a Myrtle Beach guy. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So Carolinians up in here. But also at the same time, too, when you think of professional wrestling in the Carolinas, you think of guys like Ric Flair, the Hardy Boys. You think of what we have a school here, Tommy Rich. We think of Tony Atlas and so many great men and women, the Four Horsemen to be exact. But you look at a stance as well, like the Carolinas, man. How awesome is that for you to be training at such a great academy, being a female graduate, but also at the same time, you're in a hotbed, one of the hotbed spots of professional wrestling, that being the Carolinas.
I do want to clarify, I'm currently the only girl to have graduated from my academy. That is a huge achievement for me. My academy logo is actually right there on my wall. And then I have a picture of my trainer over here. That's off topic. I'm sorry. Knowing that I went to a great school and like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here. So there's a lot of schools that don't train women the same that they'll train their men because we're women, but Ethan isn't like that. Ethan Case, who runs the academy, I feel like I should clarify for people who don't know. He always is like making sure everybody gets treated the exact same way. He tells the guys, if you do not do the move the same way to her that you would to anybody else, you're done. Get out. And like, he's like not like aggressive about it, but he's like, his rules are there for a reason. There was one time somebody went to give me a body slam and they didn't want to put their hand between my legs because they were being weird. And then they almost dropped me on my head. And Ethan was like, okay, this is exactly why you treat everybody the same, because it is dangerous to do it wrong.
It kind of reminds me of, to equate it with you, and I look at it from a stance like this. So I'm originally from Long Island, and one of the big spots, for those who know, Brian Myers, the former Kurt Hawkins with Creative Pro, and one of the graduates from there, who is now the current AEW Women's Champion, the TBS Champion, Chris Statlander. It reminds me of that, because you hear stories like from Chris Statlander's point of view and now yours. It's very interesting just to see, because I kind of equate it to like when we have intergender wrestling. People, have their say about it, but I also look at it from a stance too as well. It's on a live event, but also y'all train together and y'all, discipline, safe and spectacular, etiquette, everything that goes into it. So I think the way that they trained you with how to take a slam and whatnot, I think that's great, because again, not just the discipline and etiquette, but it's the proper way to do it. And some of the times, a lot of people don't see the discipline. There's so many different training schools out there, but if you have that regimen and you have that right mindset, it leads to wonders and just so many great opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm. So like, Coheed, hold on. I'm going to let my cat out of my room so he'll stop yelling at me. I'll be right back.
No worries. Take your time. Yes, sir.
While she's gone, I can kind of like agree to what she said in terms of like sometimes the men don't want to do certain moves with the women. I guess like the example she gave, I kind of had to learn that the hard way as well, where I kind of didn't want to give a female the move properly because I was kind of scared of how to place your hands and stuff like that. And I'm kind of just learning that now. Even now, I'm kind of trying to shake that off, where I'm like, I got to remember we're all in the business for the same exact reason. So I've kind of had that happen a couple of times. So
I like to think of it of less of like gendered wrestling and more of we're all wrestlers. I don't like to think about the fact that there's separate genders with it, if that makes sense. Like that's how my dad always told me. He's like, all right. Like when I first started when I was 14, he was like, hey, okay, so some of these moves, like they're gonna have to touch you in certain ways. It's not, they don't mean it in a rude way.
Yeah.
It's just wrestling. That's all it is. That's how I try to think about it.
But
you can also tell when something, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead. Finish.
You can also tell when someone has like certain motives too. Like, and that's not ever fun either. But if it's just like a regular match, it's fine.
Got it. Yeah, no, yeah. It took me a while. Luckily, like at my school, we have like really, really great trainers. So they kind of drilled that into my head. So now it's more like now I just try to focus on getting stuff done safely and properly. So yeah. Michael.
Sure. So I'm going to bring this up. And first and foremost, I love the fact, Airica, that you brought up. It's funny in schools too as well, because a lot of the stuff it's either vice versa. And what I love about it too as well, only people will just know about like the big promotions, right? And some of them will be like, what are you talking about, this indie stuff? Now, the other side of the coin, like she mentioned here, when you look at indies and then you find out about stuff like that, that's what you're accustomed to. But I still think that's awesome as well, because we talk about the support indie wrestling movement, which is so true, and everything in support wrestling as a whole. But I think just the basics of just seeing there's so many coming into fruition, especially women's promotions, Northeast and in the South, what have you. I think it's great just to see a lot of the tutelage that we're talking about here really being amplified and showcased and progressed as far as the training facilities go, because proper training is also very key. And we talk about the etiquette that we touched upon, but I think it's so great that everything is wiling up. Like we talk about the equality with men and women in training. I think it's kind of a breath of fresh air to what we used to have, but god dang it, man, it just shows a lot of hungry talent coming out there. So I think that's very important to emphasize as well in today's forum.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you're fresh into the indie scenes. What's really the goal? And I've talked to a couple independent wrestlers. I hate using the word independent wrestlers. They're just wrestlers. Right. I don't know, but whatever. I talked to a couple of them and a lot of different answers. So I'm interested to hear your answer. What's the goal right now? Is the goal to just get as many reps in as you can, or are you working towards like, obviously like the contracts for the big companies, or what's up with that?
So eventually I do want to work towards having a contract with a big company. I'm not really picky on which one. I just want a contract, honestly. But I do, like, before I get a contract, I would love to travel like across the like as much of the indies as I can. I want to travel across the United States. I want to go overseas. I especially want to go to Japan because I'm a weeb, clearly. I mean, my shirt has anime characters on it. I don't even know what the anime characters are. They're just
Okay, got it. All right, so here's a question. Just because I'm a big independent pro wrestling guy, I've gone to a lot of, at this point I can't name all the promotions I've been to. Do you have your eyes on any set promotions where you're there? And this is another topic I've talked to a couple independent pro wrestlers about. Is there a specific company where you're like, I need to wrestle here, or any specific venue where you're like, hey, I want to be here?
right now, like as far as a specific company, the word just completely slipped out of my mind. A specific company that I would like to work for is Catalyst Wrestling. I think it's in New York.
New York, yeah. New York, yeah.
I definitely would love to work there because I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Catalyst is amazing. They run amazing shows. The promoter's really amazing. Yeah, no, that's actually that's a great promotion. I go there pretty often. So yeah, that's a great promotion. Is there any, I don't know if you're like familiar with like venues, but is there any like specific venue you'd like to like debut in or wrestle in?
Not off the top of my head. I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. It was just a question, just because like some people make goals like that. So well, I lost. See, I do the same thing. I just lost my thought. Anyways, CCW, you just made your debut, or VCW. They're not. I don't want to say they're the same thing because Marcello will kill me.
They intertwine. They coincide.
What Michael said.
Yeah.
You technically still make. You technically still. It's a hard. I still don't even understand it, and Marcello will hear this and he'll still kill me. I still kind of don't understand it because it's under the CCW umbrella. So you technically made your CCW debut and your VCW debut, regardless. Capital Championship Wrestling. It's really hot. You know, Ali Catch, Masha Slamovich. A lot of names have been with that company and they've held the title. So it's a good company to be with. How did that come about, and how do you feel to have wrestled for them?
I feel really good about it, especially like since it was at the Monster Factory. I'm like, that's actually really freaking cool.
Yeah.
If there was a venue that I wanted to debut in, it was the Monster Factory. So that's like insanely cool that I got to do that, because I also have a couple friends that are like, oh my god, you debuted in Monster Factory. I was like, yeah.
I mean, just like what Michael said, I mean, the Monster Factory, and like Bam Bam Bigelow and all the other greats that have been there before. So yeah, that's definitely a place anyone would want to wrestle in, and you were able to do that under CCW, which I think makes it even a bigger, cooler thing to do. But yeah, how did that come about? And like I said, I mean, how do you feel about being with that promotion?
I feel really cool. Like, well, I feel like it was really cool. That's, oh my god.
Okay. Now you're
My
coming.
brain is not working today. I have had a long day. I apologize.
Everyone's getting cocky now.
It was really cool to actually be a part of an all women's thing. I
Promotion.
think there was a men's match in there, and I was a little confused about that because I thought it was an all women's thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I understand. So basically, VCW is intergender and CCW is all women. But for some reason, I don't know. My brain's not working.
No, I mean, I think
it's an all woman. Just that there's two men in there for some reason.
Right. Okay. I think All right. So the best way I think I can describe it is, well, first and foremost, Venom Championship Wrestling, it coincides, but it's representing a separate brand, but also under the same umbrella, like Danny mentioned. But also, I guess it's the first time that we see men wrestling out of what is supposed to be, there's encompassing a lot of all women in it, much like we've seen Shimmer, Shine, and CCW. So I think it spices it up a little bit, but also we talk about the equality factor. So it's a nice mix. And I think anyway, like we talk about, everybody's all wrestlers here. So there's a nice little message to it. And I mean, speaking of message, I do have to ask you here, Airica, because I do love the Your Hero. I love the anime. I love the cosplay. I think not just because it's you amplified to 100, but I think it's something that really a lot of people can get behind and really people can relate to, which is such a influx and gravitational pull for professional wrestling. I wanted to ask you, and just personally here, what I love about it too as well, it also kind of coincides with wrestling, because when people think about professional wrestlers, they're larger than life characters, the superhero vibe. How much for that to you does that mean for like just such a positive message that is to a lot of the next generation of women that are going to see you and so many onward and upward for women's talents in professional wrestling, that positive message of just being yourself and being that overall hero, the superhero that professional wrestlers really are,
So that's actually one of the main reasons I got into wrestling anyways, was because my dad was like, well, he still is. He's my biggest hero. And I got into wrestling because, for one, it's fun. I love it. And I feel like it's also a great way to, essentially my goal here is to be for somebody else what my dad was for me. And because when I was younger, I couldn't find a lot of female role models that I actually related to, because most of the women you see on TV are very similar. Like, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm not trying to say anything negative about anybody. But I've had a very hard time finding somebody that I genuinely related to, because I'm a very weird human being. And I want to put myself out there for other kids and just people in general. Like, it's okay to be weird, and it's okay to not relate to some big celebrity that everybody knows. It's okay to be your own hero. You don't have to be like everybody else, essentially, is kind of like where I stand on that. And I feel like that was a really rambly way of saying that.
No, it really does
a lot of
make
sense.
Yeah, it makes, especially for like people that will hear this and are trying to come up on wrestling in general. Even me myself, and I spoke to your dad Saturday briefly, and I was telling him, like, just before I even really knew who you were or was familiar with your work, and I saw the promo for CCW, the one that you made for CCW, I was like, right off the bat, I was like, this is completely different. I was like, I don't see this. I haven't seen it. And anyone should appreciate something like that. And like you said, this is nothing towards any independent pro wrestler or anybody in general, but promos nowadays are kind of the same. You scream into the camera, you get your point across, and now you have a match. Yours is way different. There's a little comedy to it, but it's fun, it's refreshing, and it's new. And I think just people looking at that can also be like, all right, I feel like you set a new like standard for people, like, hey guys, be different. Like, so what you were saying does make sense, and I think that will help a lot of people that are coming up and take a look at your work.
Sometimes, even though like I do, like my whole thing is you don't have to be like everybody else, I still feel like I feel like a hypocrite sometimes, because sometimes I'll be at a show and I'm like, I feel like I don't fit in anywhere. My dad's like, why are you trying to? Why does that matter? You can be friends with people. You don't have to be like them to be friends with them and to like get to know people. And then I'm like, dang, why am I I don't know why I do that. I mean, I'm still technically a teenager, so that's probably why. That probably doesn't help anything. But
well, yeah, I was gonna say that kind of makes sense though. I feel like being friends with someone who's completely different from you just helps both parties in terms of like learning new things off of each other. So I kind of agree with him.
Yeah, so when I was younger, the reason I got bullied is because I was really weird. I mean, I'm still weird, but I get bullied for it less because I'm like, screw those people. The only people that
you're
you
right.
scare off with your personality are toxic people that you don't want in your life. I just smacked my lip with my phone. I'm gonna put that down. Anyway.
First of all, that's great advice. I actually have to counterpoint with that because I can actually concur and actually relate to you as when you're a kid, and I'll say this because you talk about being weird, being different, being unique, so to speak, right? What I love about it too is as well, when you're young and you're a wrestling fan, folks, and we all here love professional wrestling and respect the craft, you get made fun of for that, or you like different stuff. I think as you're younger, what I like to call it's like LOA, the level of acceptance. You want to be accepted, you want to be like this, but as you get older and you become wiser, which as you now, being an 18-year-old and being a young go hard teenager, you really don't care what people say, and then you really start to really realize what's important, and that takes you on the right path to where you are. So I think I got to say, just the point of that is, I think you're on the right track, and I think everything will come into fruition and continue to suffice for you.
I sure hope so, because life is hard, even as a teenager. Like, I know it's just gonna get harder.
Yeah, I was gonna say, here's some. It gets harder. Trust me. I mean, it doesn't get any easier. So sometimes I still.
Hopefully, I'll just learn to cope with the issues instead of not going in blind.
Well, that's definitely a big thing, and I don't know if there's a correct age or correct time where you learn how to cope, because even like, and this is like even outside of wrestling, like even for me, like I still try to learn how to cope with things even at the age of 24. I'm like still, even now, because I just started wrestling 3 months ago. Well, I knew I was gonna start like 5 months ago. And even just talking to people, like, hey, like just friends that don't watch wrestling, like, hey, I'm gonna do professional wrestling. They're like, you're such a loser. Or like, you have nothing else to do with your life that you have to do that. So just like, even now, like I know, and it's a weird topic. And I've talked to a lot of like other wrestlers about it, where they're like, the beginning is kind of a hard time, because a lot of people are still trying to adapt, that you're going to make a change that isn't really normal. It's not normal to like be like, hey, I'm going to become a professional wrestler, especially when you have, like for me personally, I have friends with like office jobs, like some are nurses, some are like, have businesses. And then there's me, like, I'm going to become a wrestler. And they're like, that's kind of weird. Like, you're weird for that. So, and that's even like at 24, like even at 23, when I was kind of already realizing I was going to do that. But it's kind of just like whatever makes you happy, I think kind of just is the motivation for you to keep going. So
I agree with that completely. So when I was 14 in 8th grade, my dad was like, hey, I'm going to let you start wrestling. So I told a friend of mine about it at school, and she was like, you're way too skinny. You're way too weak. You're going to quit within a week. And I was like, thank you for believing in me, Jesus, Lord Almighty. Here I am, 4 years later, traveling to New Jersey and Maryland and Florida for this crazy dream.
Yeah, and then some of those people will also be like, hey, I never said anything negative about you, like, trying to, just tag along for the ride, I guess, if you will. And that's like, and I've heard plenty of stories like that too, where a lot of people will tell their friends will be like, you're weird, and then they start doing what they said they were going to do, and now they're like, you're not weird, like we believed in you all along. It's like,
yeah, and then she was upset when I didn't tell her about my debut.
Yeah, those are
what? That doesn't make sense. You have not been there for my journey. Now, my best friend, I met him through wrestling, and we just happened to go to the same high school. Like, he has been there for me this whole time, and he went to my debut, and he went to a huge like match of mine like a few months ago, like surprising me completely, and it was wonderful. I love that kid so much. Anyways,
well, yeah,
those
are really the friends you keep around. No, I mean, there's no off topic here. People are gonna listen. Or
ADHD, brother.
There's no off topic. People either listen or they don't.
No, I mean, it's life, man. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. It's life. We all go through it, and we all are here to have the platform to tell our stories in more ways than one. And I mean, I look at you for instance here, Airica. First of all, for those who have not checked out Airica on YouTube, this one over here, like Danny mentioned earlier, your promos just out of the box, different, creative, and just awesome. I gotta say, but here's look at it from a stance like this. Not a lot of people can say they can go against Roddy Piper's daughter and Teal Piper. When you think of the ultimate promo god, you think of the rowdy one, right? Yes.
That was also a really cool moment for me. Like when I said I was freaking out in that promo, like I don't know if anybody watched it, but I basically said I was freaking out. I was actually freaking out. That was for shoot, brother. I was freaking out. She was really nice though. So, and she said she wants to have another match with me, which is such a relief. It is so nice to hear somebody like wants to have another match with you, because that means that you did them justice in your match. And that's always a great feeling if you're doing it right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the best part about it. I mean, like you talk about return matches, you know you're doing something right when you're going in there, especially like we mentioned with the daughter of the late great Rowdy one. And I mean, for you as well, like we talked about CCW earlier in today's forum, you look at people like Caitlin Marie, you look at like people at Jada Stone. So a lot of people that you've seen in that locker room with CCW kind of coincide. So you get to see familiar faces, all just chasing the dream. And I mean, I've seen the promos you cut on Caitlin Marie as well, like Caitlin Marie, who was a bag of energy in her own right. She's funny, she's entertaining, she can heighten it up, but there's a lot of chemistry that you two have together, but also not just from the wrestling side of things, but from the promo side of things, because y'all really feed off one another.
Mm-hmm. So that's like the only promo I've cut that like was just a stand up, like no
Right.
cuts, nothing. And I feel like a lot of people underestimated the fact that I can cut a normal promo. Like I need like an hour and a half to come up with it, but I can still do it. Like, because I do a lot of the funny ones. And the reason I did the funny ones is because my dad did a lot of silly YouTube videos with his tag partner. And I was like, that's amazing. This stuff is hilarious. I want to be a part of this. And he helps me come up with it, and he helps me film it. Obviously, he's like in 90% of the promos I do, except for the one that I cut on Caitlin Marie. But I have like a little mood board up there with promo ideas. It's like this tiny circular cork board with sticky notes on it, essentially. But I like dumb stuff, essentially. Like I do what I enjoy, because if other people don't enjoy it, that doesn't affect me, because I enjoy it. The right people will find it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I've just learned this recently, like as long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. I mean, sticking to the promo side of things, how long does it take you to like think about a promo, get it done, the whole process?
Sometimes it takes a couple weeks, sometimes it takes a day, sometimes it takes 10 minutes. It kind of just depends. So the one that I did for CCW, I'm pretty sure that's the catchphrase one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was on like a little parade float for Pro Wrestling Turbo, which I'm wrestling for tomorrow, actually, which is fun. I was on a parade float, and my dad was doing his thing, raising up his sword, saying huzzah. And I just wanted to say it in a funny voice. And then I said it, and I was like, oh my God, I sound like Toad from Mario. And then I tried to just say other things in the Toad voice. I just couldn't sound like Toad. The only thing I could say in a Toad voice is huzzah. And then I made a joke. I was like, what if we cut a promo like this? My dad was like, yes. I was like, okay. We got very excited about it. It was very fun to film.
Well, it was fun.
I also got really self-conscious halfway through it, because I was like, I sound like an idiot. Like, what am I doing? My dad was like, no, people are going to love it. And then they did. And I was like,
yeah, it was a really, in my opinion, it was a really great promo video. And like I said, regardless, like from what I've seen from you so far, I mean, they just make you stand out, which is awesome. It's always good to see something refreshing. And that one was really funny. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
thank you.
Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I was going to say, excuse me, guys. From the entertainment side of value, first and foremost, Marcello was actually the one that messaged me the promo, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome because first and foremost, like we talk about the out of the box side of things, but entertaining promos is where it goes. I mean, you look at the Carolinas there, and I'll show my age here, 31. Hello. In the 80s, there was a wrestler by the name of the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant. Like when he used to come out with Big Mom and he would do the stuff and he would dance stuff. A lot of that resonates with people. You look at legends like Junkyard Dog. We mentioned Piper earlier with just how nuts he was, just when you think you have the answers, I change the questions. So it's stuff like that. Like you like that loose cannon, like a Brian Pillman, or you like someone that's so entertaining. People can bounce off of so many different things. And I think it's wonderful just to see what sticks. I mean, look at what we have now with LA Knight. The man says, yeah, and let me talk to you. And he makes thousands of people go nuts in the venues, man. It's one of those things, like if you have the right catchphrase, the right attitude, and the right confidence, I think really just continues to shine through. And I mean, Airica, you talk about having that weird effect, which a lot of people can say, and I'll say this right now, it's a good weird, young Miss Airica over here. But also at the same time, a lot of people like that. I mean, when Victoria was coming out being, playing that character, a lot of people may have thought that was weird when she would rub her hands to this, like the Psycho. People gravitated towards that, not just because of the cool theme song, but she was different. She wasn't the Trish Stratus. She wasn't the Stacy Keibler. It's setting yourself apart from the pack. And I think you doing that, you're standing alone and you're really doing your thing. And like I said, I can't wait to see what you do next, especially with the events and how you get in the ring. So I think just the sky is the limit, as they say for you.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. That makes me feel very good about myself. Like a lot of people say it, but sometimes you can tell that they're just saying it because they think they should. But like people like you, I can genuinely tell you that you mean it. Like, and that's what, sorry, something popped up on my laptop. I don't know what that is, but I genuinely appreciate the
feedback.
I'm thinking
The feedback.
Let her get it.
Another thank you for being genuine is what I was trying to say. I was like, what is the word I'm looking for right now?
Yeah, it's the genuinity, but also at the same time, I think with everything, and I think what you showcase that a lot of people do, I like to abbreviate it as like sin. It's the subtleties, the intricacies, and nuances that I think a lot of people showcase. So you have these subtleties, intricacies, and nuances, to put it blunt.
Just like, even like another example, and I remember speaking to her like 2-3 years ago, but Vicky Guerrero, even like coming out with the excuse me, and I remember asking her, like, having to come out on live national television with the voice and everything, like she was like, hey, trust me, I felt like a freaking idiot, like I felt cringy, this and that, but it got her over. And at the end of the day, she was like, people would come up and they'll do it to her, like they'll say the catchphrase to her. So I mean, sometimes feeling weird is just being like doing stuff right.
I feel like the biggest reason that a lot of people fail in wrestling is they're too afraid to make themselves look stupid. Like that's part of acting and theater and movies even. Like you have to look stupid sometimes. And you're going to feel really stupid doing a lot of things, but it looks either really cool or it just makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. I agree. Like, we'll just say that. I agree.
It's like Cody Rhodes with Stardust. He looked like an idiot.
Right.
But it was kind of cool. I think it was cool.
No, Stardust was a great character. I mean, people enjoyed it. That's the thing. Like, sometimes you gotta look stupid for other people's like enjoyment. Like, even like a good example of someone being like dumb or stupid or whatever, but people love it is R-Truth. Like, comes out in the Royal Rumble, sets up the ring in the middle. It's a briefcase, but everyone is having a great time and they all love the fact that he's doing that. So it's like, it's just stuff like that. Sometimes you gotta look stupid for other people's entertainment, and at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation.
I think it's the reckless spontaneity that goes into it. It's the reckless spontaneity of just not knowing what you're doing. Like you mentioned, the perfect example of R-Truth when he's talking to little Jimmy, the invisible person. Like that guy can play serious. He can play the straight man. He can play funny. I think it's just, and he's another guy that just doesn't age, for God's sake, another from representing Charlotte. But it's one of those things too. Like, if you don't have that reckless spontaneity, if you're not afraid to just go out there, like you mentioned, Cody with Stardust, and people will say what they will about that character, whether it be like a mini Goldust or whatever. But what he took with that, like Goldust would do he would do this, So you add that little subtlety to it, and all right, well, he did this. So anyway, it's one of those things that really stands out. Like we talk about just everything, he added this little twist to it, and sometimes you need to add a little twist, and you got to be spontaneous. Spontaneity. There you go with it. It's easy for me to say. Say it 5 times fast. That's all.
I'd rather not.
So, real quick, let's get into your character. How did that come about, and were you kind of scared to debut that to the world? We don't have a lot of like animated inspired characters around, so was it like, were you ever kind of debating it, like people might not like relate to it, people might not like it might be something new? How did everything come about with that?
To be honest, I don't know if I ever thought that people wouldn't like it. Like, obviously, there are going to be people who don't understand it, but I don't think I ever second guessed myself for that reason. Sometimes I second guess myself just because it's me and I don't trust my own opinion, because I don't know why, honestly, I just do. But when I was 14, my dad's best friend and tag partner was like, hey, y'all should watch this anime called My Hero Academia. So we did, and I heavily related to the main character of that anime. He was also a 14-year-old who was bullied and told that he couldn't achieve his dream because he didn't have what it takes. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. He also cries a lot. I cry a lot. I cried way more when I was 14, but I still cry a lot. And that's like a huge part of his character. He's like a crybaby. I'm a crybaby. So I was like, it's nice to actually find somebody who's almost exactly like you in every aspect, especially because all he wanted was to become like his favorite hero. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be like my dad, who is my hero. So, but boom, it story writes itself at that point.
Yeah. I completely lost my train of thought again. This is real. I'm gonna start blaming everything on CT, literally.
Understandable.
Yeah. Michael, go ahead.
Sure.
Yes.
So, all right. What I also wanted to talk about as well is, like, we talk about the Carolinas and we talk about so many different territories. We've seen a lot of the matches that you've had come forward. And I mean, you just posted not too long ago with Savannah Evans, who we've seen on Impact Wrestling Television, who was with Tasha Steeles. And we've seen her along the North Carolina scene. We've seen her do her things from Queens of Combat, Ladies Night Only. It's really someone as well with her size and stature who you also meshed up very well with. I wanted to ask about working with Savannah, because she's another one who's taken her career very much leaps and bounds, but also someone who just has such fluidity and Christmas in her own right, and such the power and magnitude that she really portrays. I wanted to ask you about the stuff with Savannah Evans.
So I think that Savannah Evans is somebody that a lot of people should look to if they make it somewhere, because she has a contract, which is what a lot of people are trying to achieve, but she will still make time for you, and she will be nice to you and take into consideration what you want to do, even though I am 6 months in and I don't know half as much as she does. She still took into consideration my opinion of wrestling in general, and she was really nice about it. And if she didn't agree with something, she wasn't like, no, you're wrong. She was like, maybe this would be better. Maybe we should try something else. And she's just such a nice human being, and I just wish more people were like that. Even people who haven't gotten contracts are still more mean, and I'm like, why? What is the point? Does it make you feel better about yourself? What is wrong with you? Anyways, sorry.
That actually sums it up very bluntly and very honestly. I think a lot of people concur who watch wrestling, or you hear the stories of whether it's like a bitter veteran or someone who hasn't gotten a contract. But also at the same time, we always talk about in wrestling, and I know you can attest to this as well, both of you can, you never stop learning. It's a business. Doesn't matter how long you've been in it, you never stop learning. So why not absorb that and just don't, just like you mentioned, it's a positivity factor, but people don't be bitter, and also at the same time, learn, absorb, and adapt. That's all really I could say. But you brought out a great point in.
This is just a random question, just because it was on my mind. Besides Gargano and Bailey, do you have like a dream opponent?
I have a few. So I would love to wrestle Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is my current favorite wrestler. freaking love Kenny Omega. Will Ospreay, Maki Ito, Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane. And I've been wanting to wrestle Billy Starks for a while because we're around the same age. We graduated high school around the same time. And I'm like, that's really cool. Like, we're very similar. So I'd really like to face her too.
Damn, I would really love to watch that match. Me and Billy, we're pretty cool, and she's killing it, and you're killing it. So yeah, every name you just listed is technically possible. You against Omega, that'd be pretty cool.
Bro, I would die on the spot if I was told I was wrestling Kenny Omega. I'm like, oh my God, I would have a heart attack. I would get so excited and my heart would just give out.
He's really good, and he's someone that I even kind of look up to for a lot of different reasons, just morals and wrestling in general. So that's actually a good one. Yeah, that's right. That's a good one. I was just thinking about the whole Billy and you thing, because even Maki Ito, that'd be you guys have such different characters. That match would actually really be fun to watch.
I feel like we're genuinely polar opposites.
Yeah.
I, as a person, I don't like to cuss. I don't know why. It feels wrong when cuss words come out of my mouth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then she's complete opposite. She cuss like a sailor, from what I've heard. I have a lot of friends who are like that too, so I'm used to it. It's not like when I tell people I don't cuss, they fall back to, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It's like, I don't care what you say, I just don't say it. It doesn't bother me.
Do you usually have a lot of slip ups, or are you really on it about not cursing?
I don't have a lot, but when I'm angry, it kind of, I'll catch myself right before I say it, and I'm like, oh, I think I need to calm down a little bit. Because when I'm on the verge of saying something like that, that means I just need to calm down.
Okay.
Okay, so my dad is sitting over there now. He came in a few minutes ago, and he brought up a funny story from how old was I?
Like 2 years ago.
It was more than 2 years ago.
No, it was 2 years ago.
Okay, apparently it was 2 years ago.
Well, first of all,
yeah, hey, Dad. Yeah, tell Dad hello.
Yeah, who is a really cool person. Just talking to him we had a good conversation. So hi to him too. It's now become
hello.
It's now become his interview, but
he did this. That was his hello. He did it like y'all could see it, but I'll translate. There you go.
Yeah, so the story. What was the story?
So we were driving down I guess it was a highway. I don't know. My mom was driving and my dad was in the passenger seat. I was in the back seat. Oh, Lord. This is a very embarrassing story, but it's also really funny. So there was this pickup truck that was attached to a semi-trailer. And my mind was so blown that, how do I explain this without saying it? Do I just say it? You say it. Come here.
I'm not saying this. This is for interview.
Okay. So it was driving by and censoring, it's weird. So it was driving by and I went, oh my God, that's a big trailer. And then as soon as that word, the A word, it was the A word, it came out of my mouth, I went, I didn't mean to say that. Okay.
Rich said she did not say it like that. He said, oh my God, that's a big ass trailer. And she said it with the biggest, it's like, oh my God, that's a big ass trailer.
Out of my mouth. I did not mean to say that. I am so sorry. Because at the time, a few years ago, I wasn't allowed to cuss because I was. Yeah. But that's why I'm saying it's more than 2 years. Because 2 years ago, I was 16. Oh, I was 14. It doesn't matter.
It was not 14.
Whatever. Either way, I wasn't allowed to cuss at that point, and it came out of my mouth, and they weren't even mad. They were just so shook that I said it, and they just started laughing. They thought it was hilarious. I was embarrassed. Like, you know, the moment, like, have you ever been hit in the face before?
Yeah.
Like, physically?
Yeah.
So, not everybody has been, like, punched. It felt like that. Like, so I got punched in the face one time. And that feeling was almost exactly the same. So it was the 4th day of my freshman year of high school. This girl came up to me and was defending her friend because her friend spilled tea on my brand new shorts the day before, and I was livid. And I told my friends about it, and then she comes confronting me. It's like, why did you say I did it on purpose? I was like, because you did. And then her friend comes up, is like, I ought to knock you out. And I said, do it. And I turned around, I turned back, boom, she punches me in the chin. I was like, you're just gonna, that was a very cowardly move. How dare you? And all of my friends just stood and watched. It was cowardly because I had my back turned and I didn't even make eye contact with her. I hadn't made eye contact with her, and before she was swinging as I was turning. It was very cowardly. And my friends just stood there watching. I was like, I need new friends. Y'all are not cool. I don't talk to them anymore.
Good. I don't think those are friends at all. In her defense, you did tell her to swing. Just, you know.
I was made aware of that. My dad was like, yo, you need to stop daring people to do things. You're gonna say that to the wrong person one day.
Well, yeah, no, I was just saying because I've actually, obviously not the same scenario, but I've been in a situation where I was like, well, do it. And then they did it. I'm like, oh, ow, that hurt.
Ow.
How? Like you did it.
Because I had been like do it before, like to like a lot of people, and they'd never done it. So I was like it didn't hurt. It was a weak punch. I was so embarrassed because people were laughing at me that I started crying. I called my dad. I was like, I just got punched in the face. He was like, what? Excuse me? You are 4 days in to your freshman year of high school and you managed to get yourself punched in the face. What is wrong with you?
I got punched in 8th grade. So I was like 8th and 7th, I think. I have that problem too, where I tell people, I'm like, do it. And my mind kind of thinks they won't do it. And then they do it and I'll blame them. But then at the end of the day, it's like, you told them to.
It was my fault that I got hit because I was instigating. Because, I mean, the girl definitely spilled her tea on me on purpose. But it's not the point. I still told her to do it.
No, yeah, definitely. I definitely still, even at 24, have that problem where I just, even recently, I think even as recent as yesterday, I told someone to do something. They did it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh.
that is literally my response to everything in the world right now. My brain is dead. Always like, oh, even Michael would know, like, just in general, we've had to like reschedule a lot of episodes and not been able to record. And it's just because my head, like, I'm so all over the place, which I feel like is a good thing, but then it's a bad thing at the same time. But I've been responding to all my friends with, oh, like they'll catch me up on stuff I haven't known about. And I'll literally just reply like OH with a period at the end, just so they know, like, I'm so out of it. But yeah.
Being all over the place can be really sucky because it makes like existence hard, but it also makes you a very entertaining person. So it can also be a good thing.
Yeah,
that's me. No, I'm all over the place all the time. Clearly.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't like to like have excuses for anything, especially like now just being in like training and stuff. Like I always learn like no excuses, but I'm all over the place in a good way. Like I have my normal job, then I have training right after, and then I have to take care of the pod. And a lot of people, and this used to be me too, but a lot of people think like podcasting is easy. Like you just talk, upload, and that's it. But there's so much more. It's like podcasting. There's like promoting, like putting up content consistently, reaching out to people, trying to gain more followers, promote the page, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, I'm literally working my normal job, shoot right to school. And I live an hour away from my school, an hour and 30 minutes away from my school. So I'm doing like far traveling. Then I come home like at 1 a.m. And then I'm like promoting for the pod. And I'm just like, all over the place. And then I got to go to sleep to wake up for work the next morning. So it's like when people text me about like drama or advice, I'm just like, bro, no.
Could not care less. I have other things to worry about.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. Find somebody else.
Exactly.
Go away.
If you have, and I feel bad because like you have other friends and they're like, no, we only have you. I'm like, oh I'm not
Like,
available.
oh shoot, I'm sorry. Find another one if you want to gossip. I'm
Make
sorry, but I can't handle it.
But then there's like
Like-
the support that no,
Sorry.
like then there's
There's a bug.
there's a supportive friends that know like he's trying to do something, leave him alone. Like so, but yeah, being all over the place, I think at times can be really good. But then at times like this week has been really like we were supposed to have a lined up guest and we had plans and everything just fell through because I'm just like I'm all over the place. And even then, like when I'm not training at school, like I'll find, and I'm very proud of myself for this, but even when I'm not training at school, I'll try to train at the gym and trying to like do my own little things to try to get better. So I'm all over the place. But hey, we're here. We're all here.
I felt every second of that because like if I'm not at my academy, and it's a 2.5 hour drive for me, so it's kind of like I can only go one day a week right now because gas is expensive.
Wait, let's backtrack. Hold up. 2 hours and what?
2.5 hours.
You're 1,000% gonna make it in life like that. So no,
If
like
there is one thing I am, it is dedicated.
no,
Okay,
like
I can say
and
that.
This is like just me speaking like from me. And I'm like that. I'm complaining about an hour and 30, but you're driving 2 hours. So it's like, forget about what I said. 1 hour and whatever is nothing. Like
Everybody has their own struggles, man. I'm not judging you.
No, I'm just like that. That's like pure dedication, like pure dedication. So that but it pays like definitely could tell it pays off. I mean, you've had amazing matches. So, and you have like even like, and I was talking to even Marcello about this. I think like the other day, and I was after CCW, I was like, she has a bright future. Like, there's no doubt about it. But just hearing just like that you go that far for training, I was like, okay, like that's just pure dedication.
I appreciate that. I felt like I was gonna say something. I don't remember what it was though.
That's me every day. So
2.5 hours. Oh, right. One day a week. And I try to go to the gym at least 4 times a week. At least I have only gone once this week because I've had a very hectic week. I got home on Monday at 9 p.m. from being out all weekend. I was like, I'm not going to the gym today. Then the day after that, I did 2 workouts. Wednesday, I had training. I didn't wake up early enough to go to the gym. And today, I haven't had time. So I'm going to try to go tomorrow. But last week, so I made a little workout plan for myself, and I've done it once all the way through. And I've had it planned for 3 weeks.
life happens.
Life does happen.
Life happens. Literally, that's literally what I live by now. Like life just happens. Stuff happens out of nowhere, which I kind of hate. I'm a very scheduled person. So when things happen that aren't in my schedule, it just throws me off completely, and it's hard to get back on track. I did have a question, but I totally forgot.
I'm sorry.
It's been the key to this. Well, in my defense, and this is like off topic, but we haven't recorded with a guest in 3 months. So I'm just like, so like out of it. Like, I'm just so like, I'm trying to get back into groove of things, but I like people. One thing about the pod that I like is it's different from other podcasts. Like we're just like talking. A lot of people have like set questions and like set topics and this and that. Kind of just like to flow, and like we like everyone to talk about what they need to talk about or want to talk about. But yeah, that's my excuse for today, because people are gonna listen to this. I know they're gonna like message me like you didn't sound like yourself, or like too many like I don't know what I was supposed to say, but it's been a long week. So
I understand that completely, because sometimes I'm more cheery on certain podcasts than others just because I've had a rough day. But I try really hard not to let it affect me, because I feel like that just makes me look like a jerk. I don't want to do that. I'm not saying you look like a jerk.
That's exactly what you said. It's okay.
That is not what I said. Not what I meant.
Well,
I feel like, okay, so when I'm in a
Jerk.
church.
That's not what I meant. I'm not saying you
We're
sound
gonna-
like a
we're
jerk.
gonna-
I'm saying that
we're gonna-
I sound like a jerk when I've had a bad day because of the way that I talk when I'm drained. I'm not saying that's what you sound like. I'm saying that's what I sound like when stop.
That everybody, we're gonna clip that, and that's gonna be the entire
No,
that line right there. Be the entire
I
episode.
didn't mean it like that. I need to watch what I say. Apparently.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna title this when I edit it, All Things Pro Wrestling - Danny is a Jerk. That's it right there.
That's hilarious.
That's
I'm not saying you're a
it's
jerk.
literally just like her.
Right.
It's literally just like her being a heel and like cool. I just walk off the set. I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you guys. I don't deserve to be here.
It just Danny.
That's not what I meant. I'm so sorry.
I see how it is.
I
see
realized how
is.
it sounded as soon as I said it. I was like,
Yeah, I see how it-
now I sound like a jerk. I am the jerk. Ow.
Like Michael.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's all like, see how it is. I mean, we get it. I understand. He's a jerk. No, I'm kidding.
What just took place?
I know, right? I mean, Danny's a jerk. I see how it is. I get it. It is just walk off. That's the walk off set off right there. No, but I think what we could get from the conversation too as well, guys. And I think when you guys talk about staying busy, and what I love about it too is everything in life is a grind. And the way I can define pretty much what you both are going through and both your similar mindsets, it's what I like to call the positively proactive side of things, because there are a lot of people that are very much going in certain directions. But I think if you stay on the positively proactive side of things, I mean, we talk about it paying off, but it's really truly a mindset and the dedication to the craft. And I mean, I think that's what I love about not just looking at Airica over here and you, Danny. I think that just sets the next generation of professional wrestling just onward and upward. And I can't wait to see what you do, Danny, and especially what you do, Miss Airica, just killing it all fronts. So yeah, I think that's what we can get the takeaway from all of this is. And I think that's wonderful.
I'm not doing nothing. I'm a jerk.
Oh yeah, I know.
No, you're not. That's not what I meant. I'm so sorry. I was trying to say I sound like a jerk if I don't.
After all the support we've given her, this
After
is
all
what
the support, all of it.
You're
Trying to
not a
balance-
jerk. I'm a jerk, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
There's
Not
all
what
the
I meant.
positivity, the positively proactive. Just
Right.
jerk. You sound
I
like-
can't cry because I got a spray tan. I can't cry right now.
Remember that part in this episode where she was talking about those people being mean when they should be nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Turns out it was her. It was her all along.
The tables have turned. The tables have turned.
But no, trust me, I've been called worse. That's nothing. That's actually a compliment compared to what I've been called before.
But that's still not what I was trying to say.
No,
It's exactly that what that
That
I just glitched. I just had a
What?
stroke.
What just-
malfunction.
I was like,
The junction. Yeah.
My brain and mouth malfunction. Stop making fun of me. My dad is going like this because I do that a lot, and it's very
Wait,
distracting.
what do you do?
He does. I do that. He was doing this.
No, I'm saying, but you do that like to say sorry, or you
Like-
just do that?
I do that when I'm trying to get a point across. I'm like very aggressive
Oh.
with my hand motions. You haven't seen like 90% of them because I mean, I don't know, because my camera is weird and I can't get anything below my shoulders. But I've tried to get my hands in. There have been several times where I've accidentally smacked people in the face because my hand motions are so aggressive. Or I'll
Actually-
smack myself in the face. That happens a lot too.
Okay, we are learning a lot here, guys. We're learning a lot. So she smacks herself in the face. I'm a jerk.
Y'all
and-
watched me do it with my phone earlier. I mean,
I did. I mean, that was just you smack that phone like there was no tomorrow. Just like you're swatting a fly. Just get out of here. Just with this phone. Yes.
hit me right in the lip. I'm surprised I'm not bleeding.
Oh. But, hey, it
Do you,
happened.
do you bleed easily?
I don't know. I've had my lip busted several times. So maybe, I don't know. I guess
All
I've
right,
never,
Mike,
okay, knock on wood here. But I've never had a nosebleed in my life, like ever.
there's no way.
Wow.
This is impossible.
Even being hit in the nose, like my nose has never bled. I there's something wrong with the blood vessels in my nose or something. I don't know. Never
Yeah.
had a nosebleed. Knock on wood.
You're not human. That is not normal.
No.
I've had literally way too many. Yeah, Michael, I'm gonna let you talk because
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I think one of the other things I did want to mention is because we did talk about the matches. One match I have to talk in particular with you. Man, Reed Adler, who I've seen on the independent scene doing his thing with guys like Gangrel, Crazy Steve, and God rest his soul, Jimmy Rave. I wanted to ask you about that experience because he's another one who's very much a veteran and is someone who's really taken off and really has shown his craft to his fullest abilities. I wanted to ask you about that match in particular because you and Reed had great chemistry, much like you did with your other opponents we mentioned earlier. But god dang, man, I really did enjoy seeing that matchup of yours and just really seeing the progression from that match and onward.
Which matchup?
The one with Reed Adler?
Drew Adler?
Drew Adler, my apologies.
Okay.
Drew, thank you.
Okay. I was really confused for a second. I was like,
My apologies. I had a brain
know
fart myself. Drew Adler.
It's okay. It happens.
at least she didn't call you a jerk.
Yeah, that's true. So
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
I'm changing our Instagram handle to
Danny's a jerk.
What have I done? Oh Lord.
go ahead. You're not gonna hear that ever.
Drew Adler, go ahead.
So Drew Adler is somebody that I had been wanting to have a match with for a really long time. My first practice match was against Drew Adler. And I feel like I owe a little bit of my career to him because when I had my first practice match, I did not believe in myself at all whatsoever because I was coming back from an injury. I had fractured my pelvis and like there was a while I didn't know, so I had to be out for like an extra long time because it like I actually had the x-ray for it. Hold up, let me grab it. Hold up. I don't want to rip it. Because it's part of the story.
You
I
right?
should have had this prepared. I didn't know we were going to talk about it. I mean, we always talk about it, but that's not the point. Okay. So if you look very closely, I don't know if you can see it on camera. There's a tiny little fracture right there.
I see it. Yep.
Right up at the top.
Okay.
So that was my pelvis.
Oh,
So we were doing our regular rolls, and I went to do a Bandera to the outside onto the apron. And my hand slipped off the rope, and I fell and onto concrete, and I fractured my pelvis. And there was a new guy there. I'm pretty sure it was his fault because he brought in some negative energy. I don't know. That man was weird. All right.
He was a jerk, wasn't he?
it was a
He was creepy. He was creepy. Like even my dad's like confirming, like, nah, that man was weird. And he has not come back because nobody at the academy liked that guy. Anyways, so I was coming back from that injury and I didn't believe in myself. And oh wait, hold on. I skipped a whole part of the injury. So I had continued training for a couple of months or a month.
It was a month.
A month.
Because we went to the doctor and they told you it was just that there was no fracture.
Yeah, so I went to the doctor like I think that night or the next day. They said there was nothing there. So I was like, okay, cool. It's just something to do with my muscle. I'll be fine. And I was in a lot of pain, but my dad was like, if you're in pain, you can't train. And I was like, I want to train. So I'm going to say I'm not in pain. I'm sorry. I lied. He's not surprised. So I lied about the amount of pain I was in. And one night I did a headlock takeover. We went to feet up, popped. And I started crying. I was like, I can't move. It hurts really bad. I don't know what to do. And I started having a panic attack and everybody was like, oh my God, what the frick just happened? She literally was fine 2 seconds ago. Everything has went to crap. What is going on? And then I went to the hospital and it was cracked in 2 places. So because I had kept training and because the doctor missed the fracture, which is terrible.
Doctors nowadays, jerks.
Brother, I can't. How many times do I? So I was coming back from that injury, right? And I had to relearn basically everything. I had to relearn my body control. I had to like just go through everything again.
Yeah.
And I had gained a good amount of weight. That's the heaviest I've ever been, and that made me lose confidence in myself even more. And I just felt like I was behind, and nobody in that class really believed in me. But Drew Adler did. He showed up sometimes to help Ethan coach us and to give his perspective on different parts of things. Yeah, him and Anthony Henry would show up a lot because they're like really, really good friends. So we trained with them sometimes. And there was one night after class, like before I had my practice match, Drew pulled me aside. He said, you know you're going to be really good, right? Like you're already good, but you're going to be great because you have drive, you have dedication. You drive 2 hours to get here. And that lit a fire in me. And then I had a practice match with him. And I feel like that just helped with my confidence a lot because I didn't feel like I deserved to have a practice match with somebody who's that talented. But he wanted to do it. So I made a practice match and it was terrible. I mean, it wasn't a bad match because Drew Adler carried me the whole time.
Yeah. Literally
and not literally. But I finished with a clothesline because I didn't have a finisher yet at that point. So it wasn't great. But he's one of the reasons that I believe in myself at all at this point. It's him, my dad, and then one of my classmates. One of my classmates reached out to me and was like, hey, I have this idea for a match. I really want to do this with you. And I was like, oh my God, people pay attention to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's anyways,
match.
Right. So I had been wanting to have an actual match with Drew Adler for a long time because I was like, that'll be like a full circle moment there, which I've been having a lot of those lately. Besides the point. So I was really excited to have that match. And Anthony Henry was at the show that I was supposed to wrestle him at. And before I went to talk to him, Anthony came up to me and was like, you know, this is going to be really hard, right? And I was like, yep, I know. And he's like, okay, Drew in training and Drew in normal match are two totally different people. Do you think you can handle it? I was like, yes, I think I can handle it. And I did. So yay. I absolutely love that match. Like looking back on it, watching it back, obviously there's stuff that I don't like that I did, but overall the match was great. And I was told by my trainer and the announcer that was the best opening, like best first match from an indie show that they've ever seen. So that made me feel really good about it.
That is the ultimate compliment. That is the ultimate compliment. I love that.
I'm pretty sure I cried.
That's a rewarding emotional feeling. And like we mentioned with Drew, I think when you have someone, and like I said, we talked about I mentioned his matches with Gangrel and Crazy Steve, like you're in there with just someone like you mentioned with Drew. He just trains much like yourself. The grind never stops. And what I love about that is it's the persistence and it's the passion that goes into it, because when you're doing wrestling, you're persistent. We talk about learning, but also in the ring, you want to apply the craft. You want to do it safe. You want to do it spectacular. And I think that really is something that was shown and that was really amplified and was really, really showcased in that match. So I got to give you kudos as well, because I really did enjoy that match as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was just a second that. Yeah, that match was really good. I enjoyed it as well. And even like when I posted it, people, which is weird. I've never had this happen to me before. People were giving like me feed. They're like, you posted a really good match. And I was like, okay, thank you. I was like, it was just weird. So not my match, but okay, thank you. Like, so a lot of people enjoyed it when I posted it. Which was kind of the
that makes
goal.
me feel good too. That's odd. I've never heard of somebody being like, you posted a really good match. Like,
yeah, okay.
What a weird compliment.
Yeah, literally, and I think that was the first time I ever posted someone else's match. So I've never had that happen, but then again, it was the first time I posted someone's match. But yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I was like, sounds good. Thank you. Now get out of my DMs, please.
No, for real.
Like it was just, yeah, literally. I was like, all right. I mean, I didn't even know how to respond, honestly. I was just like, okay.
I would have just liked the message and moved on. Like that's how I roll. If I don't know what to say and I feel rude leaving people on red because I'm weird. I don't know. I'll just heart it and just move on. Or if it's like super long and I don't feel like reading it, I'll just heart it. And I told one of my friends that it's like, okay, so every time you heart my message, I'll know that you didn't read it. I'm like, no, that is not what I meant. Just because I heart it doesn't mean I didn't read it. Okay, sometimes I just don't have time to respond. Okay.
A lot of people misinterpret what you say.
Yeah. Just
like
a heart it.
A lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how to speak like a proper human being sometimes.
I don't think anyone does.
No, nobody does.
I don't like sounding like a robot. That's my thing. I feel like if you're proper, you're just a robot. Like I don't know.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no. I mean, that was weird. But and it was a couple of different people, so I can't even say it was one person. Like people were like, well, there was people like responding with like fire emojis. So I was like, I'll take that under the impression that you like the match. So I was like, okay, wasn't my match. Like I was like,
Cool.
I tagged her for a reason. The whole point was for you guys to follow her or like tell her she had a good match, not tell me. Like I know she had a great match. I watched.
Like I didn't ask. Like I didn't ask if the person I posted had a good match because that's why I posted it. What is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
What is wrong with people?
Jerks. Anyways.
I think before we do close this out, first and foremost, Miss Airica, we definitely got to have you back on here for a round two. It's been a pleasure picking your brain and really getting to showcase one of the finest young talents out there today. And I can't wait to see what you do going forward. I know Danny seconds that. I just really can't wish you nothing but continued success and happiness always. I can't wait to see where you go from here.
Thank you so much. I would love to be back. I'm sorry for calling you a jerk. I really didn't mean to, but
Okay. I'm literally getting that tatted somewhere on my body just so I can remember.
Well, I mean, that's the purpose of the show today, Daddy. Life is an art form. We're all applying our crafts. Continue to apply your craft in amazing fashion. The positive side. Then, oh, by the way, Danny's a jerk. That's what it is.
I will hate myself for the next 24 hours because I feel like a jerk.
Oh no.
My debut match, I'm gonna have the ring announcer just call me jerk. That's it.
Danny is a jerk.
The Indies, just jerk. And then I'm gonna have to go on podcast and tell everybody the background towards my name. I was like, hey, I was the host, and they called me a jerk for being a host, and it just stuck. They were like, you're a jerk for hosting a podcast.
For being a host, or did they call you a jerk for being a bad host?
Hey, now, go chill.
Yeah,
Stop instigating.
So we have the daughter who called me a jerk, and then we have the dad who called me a bad host.
Right.
That wasn't me.
We're not going.
I think you're a great host and you're not a jerk. I was trying to say that I look like a jerk because I sound very different from you when I've had a bad day.
I want to hear Dad's opinion.
Yeah, can
we hear Dad's opinion? We want to hear.
Do you feel like you're a bad?
That is poor wording on your part. Now you'll know where I get it from.
No. I ain't made a point. I will be.
Oh.
You about to knock your laptop over?
She doesn't even want to be here anymore. She tried to close the laptop on us.
Yeah.
No, it just almost fell. Hold on. Let's change the subject. Let me.
Probably what, the boot lighting? Oh, no.
It's colorful.
Before we do wrap up,
this is
gonna
that effect.
Get the popo up in here.
I don't give him a seizure.
Yeah, how do you not know one of our fellow viewers are like, now we have to put a whole warning on this episode.
Gotta put a flash warning right before it happens.
Yeah.
Like flash warning. Or you can just cut that out.
Now you put more work on us. Now we have to do more work.
For anyone who's sensitive to lighting and may have epilepsy, hey, it's recording, right?
I hope y'all.
Now we can't even put the video version up.
Oh, that's terrifying.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, stop.
This podcast has took a turn.
It had. But what
We
a
can
show.
We can no longer put the video version of this up. It's just straight audio now.
Yeah.
Oh.
So before we go, and this is actually kind of fun because you're the youngest talent that we've had on, which could be good and bad. Mostly bad. I mean, good. I'm sorry. My words are just worded so wrongly.
Wow.
Okay, well now I've been insulted. That's fair. That's
Oh,
fair enough. I don't blame you for that one. I had it coming.
Burn.
Oh my god, the coat behind you, Michael, just scared the crap out of me. I thought there was like a murderer coming at you.
I was gonna say something.
So
Too.
scared.
It's not- I was gonna say something too. I was like, "What's going on there?"
I was like, oh my god, oh, he's about to die. I'm about to get pranked.
Most of all, everything that's by hand here is just clothes. There's a button down. When you see the black thing, there's just robes and stuff. Yeah, I got those from my grandparents from like Christmas one year. So I was like, that's
Yeah, that scared me so bad.
sorry. I did not mean to scare you.
I was on her side with that. I was like, "What is going on?" Like this. If something happened, this would have been like the best episode we probably ever had.
Of course.
But
I'll just die on air. Yeah, that's okay. I appreciate that.
Oh, wow.
It's just yeah.
It legit looks like the Grim Reaper is standing behind you.
I know. I'm not getting up. I'm not. Yes, it's funny, but yeah, I know. I've actually. You're not the first person to say that. I'm like, no, it's just a rope, just the way that it hangs. I know it looks creepy, but it's what it is.
that's funny. So yeah, before we close up, well, you know what? I'm done.
Airica, where
This
can
is
we follow you on all forms of social media? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
No.
The yours. Go ahead,
No,
what?
that was not it. But
What were you saying?
yeah, was I aggressive with that? I'm so sorry, Michael. I'm a jerk. You gotta remember this. I'm a jerk.
All right,
I gotta play my part.
Gotta play the
Anyways,
role, brother.
Yeah.
Gimmick, brother.
Gimmick.
Living the gimmick.
I'm walking off podcast after it's over. We're shutting down the whole company.
Great.
What has bro?
Now I'm a piece
This
of
is
crap.
really
What
bad.
happened?
Literally. This is so bad. Oh, okay. So before every episode ends,
Okay.
we asked the talent if you had 5 minutes if you had the attention of the entire world for 5 minutes, and you don't have to like talk to them for 5 minutes, you just had 5 minutes. What advice would you give them? Besides calling them a jerk, because that'd be really messed up.
I had something I was gonna say, and then I completely forgot. Like, give me 1 second.
All right, well, great advice, guys. I mean,
No, wait. It hasn't been 5 minutes. It's been 5 seconds, maybe. I don't know. Hush! I didn't ask you. Ah, I'm trying to think. You're making me lose my train of thought, Dad. Anyways, a lot of people say don't let anybody hold you back, but the only person that's really holding you back is yourself. So don't stand in your own way.
oh, wow.
And get over yourself. Sorry, too. That's a big thing that my trainer tells us all the time. Get over yourself.
That was actually really good.
Beautifully said.
I could have been way better, but I mean, anyways, like I was trying to say, that was really good. Actually, that's really, really good. That's actually not that I remember. That's pretty bad, but not that I remember what everybody else said, but that was pretty good. It's been our first episode was like March. I don't remember what anyone in March said. So
I don't blame you. I wouldn't remember either. I don't. If it's written down, I'll probably remember it. Like if I read it, but if I hear it, I'm not gonna remember.
I have this tendency to like listen to the podcast, like to episodes over, like for example, like Marcus Mathers, who was our first ever guest. Like since me and him are like pretty cool, like I've listened to that episode like multiple times. So when I'm talking to him, I was like, we have something to talk about because I remember you said all this and that. But other than that, I don't I literally, and people think this is like a joke, I'm trying to be funny. I don't remember what I did yesterday, or I don't remember what I did like 3 hours ago.
I know exactly how that is.
So, but
Wait,
yeah.
have you been diagnosed with ADHD?
Me?
Yes.
Are you trying to say something? I'm
I'm
very.
saying I have ADHD and you have a lot of similar qualities to me. So I'm saying you might have ADHD. So if you
Honestly?
think there's something wrong with you, there's not.
No, no, definitely not. I don't think there's nothing. I quit with life. Honest. No, I'm kidding.
I was saying there's nothing wrong with you. How am I insulting you now?
No, I didn't. I definitely didn't say you insulted me. My brother has it, so I'm pretty sure I do. I was never officially diagnosed because I don't really care in a sense. Like,
Fair enough.
it's like I'm okay with being me. I think that makes me who I am. And I use it to my advantage. Like, not saying I act stupid all the time, but it I'm all about making people. I'm literally about the people, and I think I told you this when I saw you at CCW. I'm like, I'm literally, if I can help people, then I feel like that's my goal in life. Which I know it's cliche because a lot of people say that, but I literally take that like to the next level where I feel like I'm here for the people and I'm here to help people out. Which is another reason I started the pod. Like, if I can spotlight people, promote their stuff, et cetera, then I feel like I did something good in life. So using my stupidity in a sense, even though I don't like saying it like that, if people get a laugh out of it, it's just weird because sometimes you can't tell if they're laughing at you.
So they're
Or-
laughing with you.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, cool. I mean, I'll take the laugh just as it is. But yeah, so no, I don't know. Just to answer your question, I don't know. Probably, most likely, because I know my brother has it. And me and him are alike. So, yeah, I guess we learned that on the pod. I was diagnosed by a superhero. Also called a jerk by too. So is she really a superhero?
Superhero with like a smidge of a supervillain with the jerk thing, yeah, with a smidge, just a smidge, if you will.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear what my dad said?
No.
Oh, what do you say?
He said that's just facts.
Oh, okay, all right.
You're a nice jerk.
Well, there
That's
you go.
You go.
I'm never coming back
He
to
said
this
you're a
podcast
nice
again.
jerk.
Michael, I give you full.
Of course. Well, nice jerk. There you go. Well, nice jerk. Before you close this out now, before you yell at me because you're a jerk, Danny. Airica, please.
That people calling me a
Yeah,
literally,
really.
I you because it's weird because I find this weird and it's not weird, but I find it weird. People actually listen to this, which I'm still like, to this day, I'm still like, why do people listen to me? Like, why? Like, why do people take the time to listen to me? Like, but people listen to this, and I can already see like 5 people calling me a jerk next time they see me, and then I'm gonna forget it was because of this. So I'm gonna be like, why is he calling me a jerk? And I was like, they're gonna be like,
Like,
oh
what
yeah.
did I do to make you think I'm a jerk?
No, literally, someone's gonna come up to me without even saying like their name or like, greeting me. They're gonna be like, "You're a jerk." And I'm like, "What?"
Or
Because
what's
I'm
up, jerk?
yeah, literally, and I'm very sensitive. Like, I'm very very sensitive. So I'm just gonna be like,
That makes me feel so much
Oh
worse.
my god.
no,
that-
no,
wow.
no. I mean,
That makes it worse.
that does make it worse. See, sometimes I don't know how to word my stuff either. But no, literally, someone's like, I can already imagine like going to my next like indie show and someone's like, "Yo, you're a jerk." And I'm like, "What did I do to you?"
Ow.
I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a jerk. And now I'm gonna turn around and someone's gonna be like, "Yeah, you're a jerk." I'm like, okay. So you started the jerk movement. Thank you so much. No.
You're not a jerk. I didn't mean it like that. I
No,
might
we're
actually
gonna
start crying. I feel terrible. I'm so sorry.
no, I've been called worse, literally. But that was going back to the advice. That was really good. I think that was one of my favorites. Not my favorite, one of my favorites. Don't get too excited. Okay.
I hadn't even reacted yet. What do you mean? I'll take it. Either way.
But yeah,
I mean, you're gonna forget it in 5 minutes anyways. It's fine.
she's really burying me here, guys. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I'm never.
Well,
Michael, you could literally take the show.
hey man, I got this, man. I mean, first and foremost, obviously we got a round 2 here, and we've established the fact that Danny, well, you guys already know if we haven't already said it like 20 times, but it's the truth. Airica, where can we follow you on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram? Because you should follow her for the great promos and also YouTube as well. Where can we follow you? And the links will be in the description below this show.
So my Facebook is Airica Demia. My Twitter is at Airica_Demia. My TikTok is my TikTok _ Airica. And my Instagram is my Insta _ Airica. I think that's everything.
I gotta add, I love that marketing strategy with my Insta and my TikTok. I thought that was very cool. So yes,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I said Twitter, but X, it's X.
X. Yeah, that whatever. But yeah, that's the thing too. X,
Well,
Twitter, X. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not. I was gonna correct you. It's not Twitter. It's X.
Thanks.
But I'm afraid to correct you. I didn't want to be insulted again,
Okay.
so I didn't correct.
All right. Thanks.
Oh, I also have a Patreon, which is,
Do you really?
yes, I do.
That's really awesome.
Thank you. It's at Your Hero Academia, I think. I think.
You think? We need
It's
you
my
to know.
Fortress of Solitude. I'm pretty sure that's what I call it because I'm a nerd. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have
For
that.
those who don't get it, it's a Superman reference.
Yes, that too. Yes. We'll have all that in the description. Definitely have to have a round 2.
I also have YouTube and a bear.
I love the what do we call the bear here? I like that. That's awesome.
I never named him, but I'm gonna call him Mr. Ed. I don't know why. That's just the name that popped in my head.
Like the horse.
So,
It's a
Huh?
bear. Well, Mr. Ed is a horse, and now they got a bear. So like, I'm just saying.
this is
Better-
Deku.
Okay.
Could have called him a jerk.
Yeah. Well. I love it. No, I love that. First and foremost, just the fact that you
Please
got
don't throw that. Please
No.
don't throw that at me.
Yes, throw it out here, please, in my behalf.
do it.
Well, there you go. Well, there you go. This has been
Ow!
really, wow. Okay.
That one's stuck. This is also Deku.
Nice.
It's bigger than my head. I have a small head though. Please stop throwing stuff at me.
This makes for great content. We're gonna clip all of this.
Oh yeah.
We're- Keep throwing stuff out. We're just gonna clip all this at this point. This is
You just
amazing.
threw all of the stuffed animals that were on my bed. Yeah, I sleep with stuffed
That's-
animals. Ow! Don't judge me. Oh, that's my favorite. This is Batman in pajamas. Look at him. Look at his little slippers. They have bats on them.
Love
I
that.
love it.
All right. Wow.
Anyways,
We have this has been an episode of All Things Pro Wrestling with your host, Danny Harrell.
And Mike Larkin, host of On the Mic with Mike, and host of Capital Champs Wrestling's Progression and Succession and Recap shows.
Are you not gonna say who she is? I'm not saying it because I'm a jerk. So
Okay. And for your hero, Miss Airica Demia, the green-haired dynamo who has taken the wrestling world by such storm as of right now. Airica, we'd like to thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to have you back on the show for another round.
thank you for having me. I'm definitely excited to be back. Hopefully he forgets about the jerk thing by that time.
I'm sure he will. Stop being all heartbroken over there, man.
I'm gonna replay it every day till the next episode.
Miss for Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River over here. My name is Mike Larkin, and for Airica Demia.
I think that was worse than like me being called a jerk. That was definitely worse. That was I'm just getting like I've had a rough day.
You were being put on blast, my dude.
I've had a rough day and I came here because this is my happiness, but it's no longer my happiness.
God. Your happy place. You're like Happy Gilmore out here. Go to your happy place. Anyway.
Anyway,
Good.
oh, go ahead. You can.
All right. I'll do the outro. My name is Mike Larkin. For Danny Harrow. Follow us at ATPW Pod on All Things Pro Wrestling's Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. For Airica Demia, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Take care. And thank you again, Airica.